Hello and welcome to the Weather Channel. I am Jason, your host. I hope you're all having a wonderful, splendiferous day. How close are we to nuclear war? Closer than we were, but I don't like to say that it's not possible because it is. But let's look at the risks at the moment. Biggest risk in the world at the moment, Iran. Iran doesn't see nuclear weapons like most of the world does. To most people, nuclear weapons are the ultimate standoff, the ultimate, you fuck with us, we'll use this. But most countries are not actually interested in using nuclear weapons. Iran sees nuclear weapons as holy fire to cleanse the world. This is why the entire world has been, over the years, performing ops and infiltrations and other ways of trying to stop Iranian nuclear program, because once they have it and they fully have it, then there's a good chance they will unfortunately want to use it against Israel. They don't care. They don't care that everybody else will nuke them. They don't care that their regime will end, because as far as they're concerned, it's holy fire. They'll go to heaven. They don't care about the actual retaliations. They don't care that it will be the end of their regime. If they can take down the infidels and the monsters in Israel, their words, their thingy, that they are intent on destroying, then they will do it. This is a problem. After that, you've got a lot of despots and things like North Korea. North Korea is very twitchy, very paranoid, and the people in charge are bumfuck crazy. So yeah, there's another option there. You've got the China issues and all that, but most big countries have a lot to lose. Now, you probably all think, oh my God, Russia. No, Russia, there's always a chance with Russia. But we realise this, Russia knows it will be the end of it if it launches nukes. Secondly, realise that most of Russia's nukes has not been maintained any better than the rest of its army since the Soviet Union. There's a pretty good chance that 90 to 95% of the silo missiles in Russia, the silo doors won't even open. That still leaves 5%, and that's still a massive amount. If it ever did go, it'd be messy. But Russia, the same problems with all the rest of its military has been happening for years with its nuclear arsenal. A lot of those rockets will not actually launch. A lot of those rockets are in such bad shape. Remember, ICBMs and that are very delicate machines. Massive amount of the American and European weaponry program is about maintaining these devices so that they're ready to launch. It is very easy. The calibrations on their systems and that, it's not good. You have to have thingy. I'm not saying that they're not a threat. They are. Russia is a major league threat, and when more and more Russia is being backed into a corner. So what else is stopping Russia from nuking at the moment? See, like I say, it's a wild card. Could always get to the point he's enacted rule changes, which means he can use nukes without needing certain levels met. So he's got more chance of firing nukes now than before. But a lot of this is just rhetoric. You see, the problem is, when it comes to Russia, you don't worry when they threaten to nuke you. You worry when they don't. Russia is very much, the state media and everything is just a tool to threat. It's a bully tactic. They know that if they do fire nukes, even a tactical nuke on Ukraine, they will lose all support in the world except Iran and North Korea. Everybody else will step back and say, basically, we're not touching that. Even China will step back and say, fuck this shit, no way, you're on your own. And hopefully the high-ups in Russia know this. Know that if they do take that step, they are FC UK'd anyway. But it's a difficult situation because Putin wants a way out, but he wants a way out and saving face. He wants to end the war because it's not gone good for them. It really fucked up their country, fucked up their trades, fucked up everything. They are not in a good position at all. So they don't want nuclear war. He doesn't want, but he will not end the war without saving face, otherwise he's out. He'll be killed off, he'll be ended. If, with the amount of Russian lives that have been lost and that, he's got to save face in some way, and he thinks that Trump might be the way out. There's Trump's idea of creating like almost a demilitarized zone between the two countries, if at all possible, that would be patrolled by different countries, just like the North Korea, South Korea thing. There's an idea of just creating that limiting area between the two of them, or something like that. So it doesn't want, even though America has given permission for all this and that, and the stakes have risen because of the North Korea soldiers and all these kind of things. Me and you will be the last to know if a nuclear war is coming. We will. They won't even inform us. They really seriously won't. What's the point? What is the actual point of informing you or me if a thingy? But here's something you can look for. If your National Guard or your army starts to doing lots of operations away from main bases, decentralizing their infrastructure, if you see a massive amount of troop movement and heavy vehicle movement and that, to and unscheduled operations and drills for your equivalent of FEMA and all that kind of thing, you start seeing more of. That's when the people higher up are getting nervous. They still won't tell you. They might put out a thing saying, hey, make sure you've got a week's worth of food and all this kind of stuff, but they won't actually tell it to you because they don't want all the roads clogged up. They don't want panic. They want people to go to work right until the last point. They want the infrastructure in place. So look for what they're not saying. This is why I always look at all the different news sources before I'm doing one of these. I look at all the basic ones, like the evangelist news stations, the ones that like fucking, I call them evangelists because they must say so much bullshit. It's like Fox News and all those kind of ones like that. And in Russia, you've got all the state ones and all the and all the rabid wombats all around the. Read between the lines. What are they not saying? Things will go quiet beforehand. If you know anybody that works in the communication industry, if they start getting a lot of extra overtime to check all the infrastructure in your country, That's when your higher up are thinking, oh shit, this could happen. It's things like that. People being recalled from leave. All little bits and pieces that will happen to trick you before your people. It's not like the films. It's not going to be like the films. So yeah, there is a chance with Russia because we are pushing him into a position where he has to do something. But most of it's the rhetoric is just rabid people. Yes, there's a chance that they will, but most of the big people are far more worried about places like places like Iran or some crazy ass despot nation or even some terrorist group gain hold of a nuclear weapon or something like that, because let's face it, a massive amount of Russian nukes have gone missing. This is one of the things that isn't talked about, but it's a worry, because after when the Soviet Union fell, a huge amount of stockpiles, a huge amount of military labs, a huge amount of them were just decommissioned, and not in the good way that you would have in a place like America, in the UK and Europe, where we actually decommission the place. No, they just shut the door and they stopped paying the people, and that was all they did. They've even lost a lot of the actual documentation of where these places were. That's a worry, yes. So yeah, there's nuclear weapons out there that we have no idea where they are. And shit happens. So yeah, there's always the chance. But just because we've given Ukraine chance to do what they should have fucking had from the start, the ability to strike into Russia, because Russia was striking into them, then damn right, they deserve that right. This is more threats from a bully in a playground, saying, oh, you do this, I'll do this. But as my friend said in chat last night, and it was perfectly right, during every stage of this war, Russia has said, oh, you do this, we're going to nuke you. We'll do this. And every time we cross those lines, we call their bluff. Now, there's always a danger. There's always a twitchy moment. There's always something that can happen. But Russia knows that it would completely and totally isolate it and totally, completely destroy it as a nation if it launched even one nuclear weapon. The only really twitchy bit that I am more twitchy about, with that I will say this. I always said to you that if a third world war is going to start between Russia and its allies and the others, the first thing they would do is start to damage the infrastructure. Now, as you all know, one of the main data lines in Europe has been cut, has been sabotaged, and there's been other testing, as if they're testing the water to see how quickly they could basically isolate. Because the people that don't know, sorry, this is going over, but I can't not have this go over now, unfortunately. Most of the world's data and internet and communication goes through these cables that run under the seas, connecting UK to Europe, connecting Europe to America, connecting America to everywhere else. I think it's only about 5 or 10% goes through the satellites in orbit. And if you think these cables are fragile, the satellites in orbit are extremely fragile. There's been quite a few launches by certain state actors of unknown satellites into orbit. Now, of course, these satellites are probably just spy satellites and that, but you don't need much technology to fuck up the entire satellite industry. So If I wanted to destroy all satellite communications and blank out the world, all you would have to do is put a grenade in space. A simple kinetic explosive on board a satellite with enough mass around it, position that satellite at the right level and then explode it. There's so much debris in space and that there is so much debris around the planet and that adding a, let's say if you put something like a Claymore up there, but a 360 Claymore with 360 Claymore with millions of steel ball bearings, and then you exploded it in that area. Let's go and unplug something because it's turning itself off and on. My phone just making the weird noise. You explode that and it causes a chain reaction. Those ball bearings intercept and disable and destroy other satellites. Those other satellites explode. The debris from them go into the next satellite and so on and so forth. It becomes a chain reaction, and pretty much you would lose all, not only would you lose all satellite coverage, all communications and that, and all satellite, it would create a barrier that would make it almost impossible to leave the Earth until all those things settle down. It would be a very big problem. But if you were starting World War III, two things. You want to stop the enemy's communication. If you cut the main data cables in the sea, you would limit massively. We would be going back to World War II to communications. And if you cut out also the satellites, you'd lose GPS and fucking everything. So yeah, how to cripple a nation or an entire alliance. That's how you do it. We are both more advanced and more vulnerable than in the past. Our reliance on these technologies is, well, we have a lot of single points of failure. We really do. So watch out for stuff like that. That's how I believe. If it's a big actor like Russia and that who wants to start a world war, that's how he'll start. And you'll lose access to all of your phones and everything. All our internet feeds, everything like that will be, anything that's, any little tiny bit of bandwidth that's left will be co-opted by the government for military communications use and will be left in the dark. Sucks, but that's the way it is. Not really worth worrying about. Shit happens. Anyway, so this is Jason from the Clever Channel. I hope you're all having a good day.